Well, I'm just now thinking I mustn't forget, because what happened earlier was, before we started recording, was you asked my wife, what instruction did you give my wife again with this drawing?
Yeah, I said to your wife, I gave your wife a little piece of paper and a pen, and I drew a circle on the paper, and I said, because you're Ian's wife, could you draw anything at all, any picture, and then seal it in an envelope and give it to Ian without me seeing it,
Right.
and without you seeing it.
Right.
And that has happened, and you trust your
Right.
wife. And everything.
Yes, I haven't seen this, yeah.
I didn't say anything more than that. I mean, I think she's told you that too. That was really...
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. What I'd like you to do, I don't know whether... Can you open that, but carefully look at it? I mean, I know there are
without
cameras
you seeing it?
Yeah, without me seeing. Just open it up, have a little look, and when you can see, just open the... I'll keep my head down, and...
yeah, I know, I can see what's in there.
You can see what... Okay, right. Now, obviously, there's a circle that I drew, and then she drew something.
Yeah.
Okay, so you could see what was inside the circle.
Yes, yeah.
All right. Now, I'm going to ask you one question. Your wife drew this picture for you. Is that right?
For me.
Okay.
Did you tell her it was for me?
I'm trying to trick you now. I'm trying to trick you, because this is a way that we do with this kind of psychological reading thing. You're now giving me a little bit of a clue. So it was something that could be at least interpreted as for you.
Well, I'm asking you, did you say it was for me?
I've already got some kind of signal from you, because I think, therefore, it must be something rather than... It could be a bunch of flowers or something, but I think that what she's done is she's drawn something which could both be a picture that you might recognise, but also something for you, because that's what I said a minute ago. She drew this for you, and you kind of responded to that.
Okay.
So I'm just going to make this simple, because... Okay, I'm hoping it's this. Can you tell me what it was that she drew?
I can see what you've drawn.
Is that right?
Very good.
Excellent, okay.
Well,
Phew.
We should show this to the camera.
Show the camera, yeah.
I would say they're pretty similar.
There we go. Lovely.
Very good, very good.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Renato, too.
Yeah, thank you. That was very interesting. So, one of the things that you also wrote down was the thing of learning to surrender.
Yeah.
As your own process.
Yeah.
You know, that for me is a kind of... That is fraught with danger, that path of learning to surrender. And I know for myself, I was for a time, I had a guru, and it was all about surrendering to the guru. Mm. And I learned afterwards that actually I couldn't really surrender to a guru or to anyone until I really knew myself and really owned myself. Yeah. Once I own myself, then there's a fullness to surrender. Yeah. And a lot of people in this, in the same movement that I was in, were surrendering, but somehow there wasn't a totality about it. Yeah. Because they weren't total in knowing and claiming and being and owning themselves. And I'm wondering, okay, I put my own spin on that, but I'm wondering what surrender is for you.
And you're talking about two different things at once, you know, the self-knowledge, which my stuff is about too, and also the surrender or the abandonment. Yeah, I'm not talking about surrendering to any other individual. I respect every tradition, but it's not part of my tradition to surrender to another individual. In fact, some of my problems in the past have probably been specifically to do with surrendering to sort of guru-like people, really, but within churchianity. So to me, what surrender means is simply to live with a certain level of acceptance. I forget now the serenity prayer, the very famous prayer, but it's to do with accepting the things that you cannot change. The other half of that prayer is changing the things that you can. So I'm not talking about surrendering to everything, because you can become a total doormat, and I have been. But surrendering, sitting light to things that you genuinely cannot do anything about, and therefore feeling the freedom that comes from living in that way.
But isn't this acceptance, really?
It is acceptance, yeah. And the first thing that we need to accept is ourselves. So then it ties into what you were saying before, and we need to know ourselves in order to accept ourselves.
Yeah.
But you see, part of me, I would say, I have been living a bit of a lie because, and in a sense, perhaps that's too harsh on myself, but I don't fully know myself. I don't know which part of myself to accept. Sometimes I still struggle with a very childish side of myself. And one of the recent things that I've discovered is that I talked in my original book about two voices, which some would call the self and the ego, or I call the little me and the divine me. I think there are many voices inside us that we pick up. And there's a childlike voice inside me that my adult voice is quite harsh to. And what I've learnt recently is that the kind of projected adult voice in me actually needs to be quite loving and gentle and forgiving to the childlike voice in me. Now underneath all of that probably is what some would call as our essence, which is totally, in fact, there's an amazing writer that I think the world of called Simon Park, and I can't actually quote him, but he said something along the lines of, when you find your essence, step back, for it will outshine the light of any guru, or something like that, which I find so fantastic. In other words, we are our own teacher underneath all that. But above all that, there are these different voices and hurt and wounded voices, and I certainly have quite a wounded little child in me that I used to be very harsh to. I used to call him pathetic all the time. But now I'm kind of learning to love that inner child, if that makes sense.
I understand. So surrender is for you acceptance, and acceptance starts with the parts of yourself that you find difficult. Yeah.
But also acceptance is wider than that, and people get infuriated by me sometimes because I seem to accept attitudes that come across towards me from outside that others would want to fight. But I honestly feel sometimes, what's the point in fighting what you can't change?
Yeah.
Fight things you can change, yeah. What's the point in fighting even people who you cannot change? You might as well try and take the weapon out of their hands by not letting it harm you, really.
Yeah.
That's acceptance, I think.
Yeah. We're getting quite near to the close, but one other thing that you said you could do was bend a spoon. And you brought your own spoon. And I said, no.
I know.
And I got Renata, my wife, to go to the kitchen and find an ordinary kitchen spoon.
Oh, now you're putting me on the spot.
And here it is.
Okay.
And we, of course, have earlier talked about the gospel of falling down.
Yeah.
Which is all about things sometimes not happening. If it doesn't happen, we're not going to worry, but we're just intrigued.
Okay. Let's just see. I don't know if the camera has this. Let's just see what we're going to do. Try and do it quickly now. In fact, the lights are good in this studio because it's already going.
So I can see quite clearly here, you're not actually pitted it. It has bent, yeah.
Now let's try this like that. Can you see that? Let me just hold it like this.
You've got your microphone, remember, yeah.
Right.
You're putting a lot of energy into this, I can feel that. And it's,
can I just...
look at that. Look at this, guys. It's something definitely happened there. Fantastic, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, fantastic.